Red Bull have displayed dominance at its foremost, winning 19 of the 20 races in the 2023 season so far. But with rival teams catching up, Red Bull has decided to get a move on and move the goalpost even further. We got leaked news regarding the latest developments from the Red Bull camp, regarding the RB20's development, where Adrian Newey is focusing next to show what can be done with ground effect. Want to know what the RB20 is going to look like, and what piece of artwork Adrian Newey is cooking for 2024? Well, stick around to find out. Red Bull's success this season has been nothing short of extraordinary. Both team and driver has worked in perfect sync, producing a near-perfect season. With how much Perez has been struggling recently, it is easy to say that the key player in this dominance is Max Verstappen. But we should not forget one thing. Max won't be dominating this season to the scale he has done if not for the ever-so-elegant RB19. Well, you could say that Red Bull is dominating due to their rivals struggling to get a hold on these ground effect regulations. But it is their fault for not doing a brilliant job as the Red Bull design team led by Adrian Newey has done. Adrian Newey is a veteran in this sport, accumulating 23 world championships in his time at Formula One. And with his knowledge regarding ground effect cars, which currently no other team is able to match, it is safe to say that the Red Bull's dominance will continue. Now, to talk about what Adrian and his team have been cooking at Milton Keynes for 2024. From Bahrain up until Brazil, the RB19 has been at a commanding position. The gap to second fastest might have shrunk, but still, we know how little Red Bull developed the RB19 compared to rivals like McLaren and Mercedes, so we can expect the team to continue that momentum into 2024. When asked about the RB19's performance as a general from the technical director of Red Bull, he said that the RB19 is an average car on all departments. When talking about the RB19 to motorsport.com, Red Bull's technical director went on to say, "It is average good for everything, which is creating a good car. It's not very good in one aspect. Why we think it is good because we are quicker than others, but fundamentally I would say we didn't do a fantastic job. We did a good job." This, for many, clearly is an understatement for what they have achieved this season. But the RB19 is not as perfect as it looks. The RB19 has a big problem, which we have seen at many instances, but never question on as to why, due to its dominant display. If you can recall, we have talked a lot about how the Ferrari SF23 has problems with wind. It seems, though, the Red Bull car also has the same issue. Best examples are Verstappen's mistake at Australia and Verstappen's complaints about wind at Qatar. After qualifying at Brazil, Red Bull's motorsports director Jonathan Wheatley expressed his team's analysis on this issue. He mentioned to media that both Max and Sergio felt the gusts of wind actually made damage to the suspension system, making the car's balance unsettled. This seems to be a big headache for Red Bull, as it unsettles the car at random. And according to reports, Adrian Newey has talked to his team and drivers and has assured them that this will not be a problem with the RB20. And at such a time, Gazzetta dello Sport have come up with news which actually reveals what Adrian Newey's plans are for the RB20. The article mentions that the RB20 will only have some extreme features carried over from the RB19, and the 2024 car will almost be an aerodynamic revolution. From what Gazzetta dello Sport writes in their article, it appears that the vertical load from the underfloor will be generated and distributed in a radically different way than on the RB19. The floor will function differently, adopting a very different volumetric conformation of the Venturi channels. As they say, thanks to the different load distribution and generation compared to the current one, the effects of the gusts of wind on the RB20 would have no effect as happened at Brazilian GP's qualifying. And with a lot of digging, we have information on what sort of an aerodynamic revolution Adrian Newey has in motion for the RB20. So first, we need to talk about how the wind is unsettling the RB19, before we go on to talk about how the team is making radical design changes for the RB20. Let me give you guys the simplest of explanations. We know that the RB19 is the only car that runs a slight rake out of all the cars in the current Formula One grid. That ride height, combined with the floor design and the suspension geometry, is how Red Bull is able to generate a lot of downforce. Combined with an efficient top-body aerodynamic package, that is how the RB19 gains its performance, in simple terms. From this underfloor picture, we can clearly see that the venturi tunnels are long, and Red Bull has the longest venturi tunnels out of the entire grid. That is how they are able to generate loads of downforce from the underfloor. The tunnel closer to the car center or T-tray is where the clean air is taken from to generate downforce. The air from the two outer tunnels are sent out towards the floor edges, creating vortices along the floor to seal the underfloor. So the problem is, due to the venturi tunnels being so long, the vortices directed to the floor edge is not as aggressive as it should be to tackle negative effects from high-speed winds, just like what we saw at Brazil. This is the area where Adrian Newey has poured all of his knowledge on. For the RB20 reportedly, the outer venturi tunnels will be shorter than the current iteration, which is running on the RB19, with the venturi tunnels close to the T-tray of the car remaining the same, as it pulls mostly clean air towards the car's rear, generating loads of downforce. The shorter venturi tunnel design will be similar to the one Mercedes is running. The venturi tunnels feeding vortices to seal the floor edges, due to the shortened length of the tunnels, will be faster and stronger, thus generating a stronger underfloor seal. Not only does this help better seal the underfloor from the outside, but it does massively increase the generation of downforce as well, due to the shorter tunnels generating strong vortices directing the clean air traveling through the underfloor to travel consistently much faster, thus increasing the speed of airflow through the underfloor, front, mid, and rear. Not only is the Red Bull design team working on the underfloor, it is also working on the diffuser as well, to use the well-directed airflow from the underfloor to generate as much of rear downforce as possible, to aid in better car stability and to facilitate better cornering and straight line performance. I mean, the RB19's diffuser is already complex enough that many teams are scratching their heads on how to mimic that same design. This leaked whole new set of ideas from Red Bull, which we believe the team is planning on implementing on the RB20, will just move the goalposts that much further in terms of where the frontline pace is, that I think no other team will have any chance of catching the Austrian squad whatsoever in 2024. Former F1 team boss Eddie Jordan thinks the same as well, as he reportedly had a conversation with the man himself, Adrian Newey, at a function where the tech genius did discuss about the team's plans for 2024. I was at a function the other night with Adrian Newey. We are cyclists who cycle a lot together in Cape Town. Adrian feels that the evolution of what they've got at the moment is going to be so difficult for anyone to catch up with. So folks out there, please prepare yourself for a boring time or an exciting time, depending on whether you are a Red Bull fan next year. Adrian Newey is not someone who brags a lot about his work, so when he says that he has something special in his mind palace, other teams need to be worried. And as for the RB20, it won't be just the underfloor and the diffuser the team puts emphasis on. For every change made to the car's underbody, the top body aero must be redesigned as well, as both top body and underbody aerodynamics work in unison in these current generation of Formula One cars. Not to mention the focus which will be put on the car's suspension system to better accommodate the revolutionized aerodynamic package of the RB20. So what do you guys think? With the design changes we talked about in this video, how much of an improvement are you expecting from Red Bull for 2024? Can anyone from the likes of Ferrari or Mercedes catch up with Red Bull in 2024? Very much into your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads, to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula One season.